Where'd you guys learn your like leadership skills and communication skills from? Like, if you guys say
You want to go first on that one?
that was good communication skills, Alex.
There we go.
I never even cared.
Yeah.
I just was always trying to build something and solve the problems that popped up, and I never cared about that. Like, yeah, I don't even think of myself as an executive. Like when you asked like something, I like don't find it helpful to think of myself as an executive, or to think of. I just focus on what I need to build and what I need to do, which is make great stuff, hire great people, don't run out of money. That's basically what I do. It's like very simple.
From a leadership perspective, people are often surprised by the fact that like I meant what I said earlier. Like Layla runs everything. Like Jason, Trevor, like they roll into Caleb. Caleb rolls into Layla. Like I've one direct report, which is my father-in-law, and we have a 30-minute meeting, partially because he just likes me, which is nice, convenient, and he manages my books, and so he's like, we translate it into Italian, and I'm like, oh, cool, and that's the only person that I actually meet with, that's like a direct report of mine. Like Layla runs everything. Like Layla's an exceptional leader, and I think that has to do a lot with deep and genuine care for other human beings, and I tend to struggle with that. Not that I like humans. I have a harder time with Sarah, if that makes sense. And so I could either try and learn to be more like Layla, and I try, but I'm better at doing what I do. And so we make it as easy as we can to work as hard as possible. And so she does all the stuff she's exceptional at, and she's become an unbelievable leader because she's done more one-on-ones than, I think Layla has like 20 direct reports right now. Like insane. And
you need to figure out if you're going to be the manager person or the maker person.
Yeah, it's really
sure, because I am not a manager.
Yeah.
But you need one.
Yeah. No, you absolutely, like,
yeah.
I capped at $3 million a year until I met Layla. And then 24 months later, I took home 17. So like, I needed like, I knew how to market and sell. Like I knew how to do that. I was like, all that just, people would be like, you sold me this. I was like, yeah, just that. Yeah, it's that. Isn't it great? Like, but like no one would be there. You know what I mean? So, you have to find that person. And I will say this, having now, because one of the big things we do in companies that we buy is we install an operator, a manager. They actually don't like that term, by the way, but we install the CEO in the company. And the key difference that I learned from earlier in my life to later is that the wrong types of people are like, I'm good at process and systems and all of, like, that's not who you need. It's the wrong person. And especially at y'all's level, those are the people who are going to come to you and say that that's what they're going to help you do, and that is not what you need. You need someone who can have hard conversations with other people. You need people who love people, who can like Layla does this thing where she always puts the human first. And so she starts all the conversations from that perspective of like, if you didn't work for me, what advice would I give you? And I think that her character is that she will always give that advice independent of if it affects us negatively in the short term. And I think that, and thinking about business that way has helped us a lot in the long term. Because everyone knows that like, if Trevor comes tomorrow and Trevor's awesome and we need him for so many things, but if he's like, I have this opportunity to leave, we'd be like, we're absolutely going to miss you. We want you to stay, but I also, if we were in your position, you should take it, right? And I want you to win. Because then long-term, Trevor refers to you, then he'll leave on good notes. He'll be like, I've got this other guy who I can bring in to replace me. I'll take extra time out of my calendar, train him up because we're on good terms and all that stuff. And that has paid unbelievable dividends in the business long-term. But the leaders, I think, comes to absolutely down to character. And that you have to be someone that your team admires. I have more external admiration than I do internal, because most of the team that I have is like, Alex just is in a hole most of the day, just like coming up with like, look, deprivation, motivation. Isn't this neat? Well, I was like, I'm busy. And I'm like, oh, fine. I'll.
And this answers your retention question, by the way. Most of the time, people leave their job because of their manager.
Always.
And if you like making things and not managing people, you're going to be a terrible manager, and so people will leave. So like the key to retention is to have a really good people manager, and they're constantly checking in with how people feel and to make sure they're happy and heard. That's so important.
and they work with them on skills. They're like, hey, you've been a little bit short to Amanda, and so let's work on how you like show up to Zoom calls. Or like, hey, Dan, you've been late 3 times in a row. This is what you need. Like, let's set up a plan so that you're not late again. And if you are late again, we're gonna have to put you on a performance improvement plan, which means that you're gonna leave if you don't fix this. Like, you need somebody who can do those conversations.
So what position? What position is that?
It depends on the title of the business. I mean, and the size, but like oftentimes at a small business, that could be a director of operations. But what you're really looking for is not a manager, but like we're using maker manager as just general terms, but you want a leader. Like if you just think, can this person lead? Will people look up to this person? Did this person like really care about people? Like that's what it is. Like I think Gary Vee calls this person chief people officer. Other companies are CEOs, some it's COOs. The terminology differs wildly between businesses, but it's a person who just leads and people follow. And usually they're very servant oriented.